Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Hurdle the Line. I am your host, Fletch, and joining me this week, as ever, are my two wonderful, wonderful co-hosts we have returning this week. We have Tom. How are we, sir?
Very good, thank you, Fletch.
Good stuff. And returning again after a hiatus last week, we have Ballers Meg. How are we, Ballers Meg?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, although I've just realised I've got the wrong background on.
Rookie error.
There we go. Wrong podcast. We're not on the college podcast this week. Right, so we're all good. What's anything interesting happened this weekend at all?
Uh, I
Don't know.
went and did Ninja Warrior, so that was fun.
Have we got any videos of this?
I don't, unfortunately. I do have a scar to prove for it, though, if you can see.
How'd you manage that?
There's a big wall which I climbed up relatively easy, but I was helping my sister climb up it, and then she dug her nail into my arm. So yeah,
Ouch.
that was
Ouch.
that was fun. But I also did watch one of my other sisters just completely deck it, and that was hilarious. So I wish she even asked for the if we could have the footage for her, but they were like, no, you can't have that. But that would have been hilarious to just keep watching over and over.
I know you've had a busy weekend, Meg.
Yes, yes, I have. I've been doing some security for Pride weekend in Blackpool, so it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Some amazing people, met loads of amazing people to be fair this weekend, and it's always one of the nicest parts about doing security as well. So obviously there's the not so nice part. For the most part at events like that, it's always dead nice, and it's always loads and loads of really eclectic people from all walks of life that are just super friendly and good atmosphere. So yeah, good. It was really good.
Good stuff. So, I can't exactly say I've had much before, but
And
believe
you
it or
went to
not, Tom,
Popeye's, Fletch. I
I
know that.
did. I went to Popeyes, so I win.
Winning.
Um, and they've got this new. You've started me now. They've got these new uh meal boxes at Popeyes now, and they come in this massive bucket type thing, and it's like just a really happy day. So yeah, I win.
Sure.
I will say this though, Tom.
Yes.
Believe it or not, there is a video on the internet of me doing Ninja Warrior
Is there
at a
actually?
place I used to work.
I've
Yeah.
seen it.
At a place I used to work like 10 or so years ago. God, would it even be 10 years? Not quite 10 years ago, even. Um, like they had Ninja Warrior course. Don't have it anymore. Where got rid of it a few years after I left. But they had a Ninja Warrior course, and they got all the staff to collectively come together, and we all did a Ninja Warrior competition, and it got timed. Um, so there is the video on YouTube of me doing the Ninja Warrior course, and I think the best thing we can do here is if there are enough people who go and follow her the line and follow AAW Network, that footage may make it. I may put that on a public
I would love to see
page.
that.
I think
Yeah.
that that's the thing, but I also had my heart in my mouth there for a second because I genuinely thought you were going to say if we get enough followers, we're going to do hurdle the lane.
I tell you what, if I make no promises, but I
I
win.
would love to see
Absolutely.
Chapman on that, to
I
be fair.
would. It would be brilliant.
That would be really good.
Absolutely brilliant. But more importantly, we're here to talk the National Football League, which, by the way, yesterday, the not the ninth, the 8th of July in 1966, by the way, a little bit
You
of
mean
July.
the 8th of June?
8th of June, that's the one. 1966. A little bit of trivia for you all this morning. You might have seen it on the AAW social media pages. Was the official date. It was announced that the AFL and NFL would merge to create the new National Football League. And it officially emerged in 1970. Obviously, a couple of Super Bowls happened before that. But happy birthday to the NFL as we know
Absolutely.
it. Um, yeah, I thought we'll do the quick house rules first. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, head down right down there, head to the links in the description, go follow AAW, go follow Hurdle the Line, go join our Discord because we have one of those too. Go follow these wonderful human beings. One, depending on how this comes out, normally comes out in my order. So one right down there, that's Tom. That way, even that's Meg. Go follow them. The links to their profiles on social media are in the description of this episode as well. And if you're on audio only, head to the app. open the episode, and all the links are in there. But we're here to talk NFL. We're here to talk football, and we've got a bit of news. So I'll just rattle off a couple of the headlines, and then we'll get into it. So today, the 9th of June, 2025, day of recording, the Packers announced they were releasing Jair Alexander, cornerback. It was also announced today that the Bengals have cut Jermaine Pratt, linebacker. James Cook at the moment is having a bit of a feud with Buffalo, and I believe what was the news that's part of it? He sold his house.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
sold his house and apparently he is disowning the city.
Right.
Unfollowed the Bills as well, that's the common one.
And there's
Yeah.
the real one
Name,
out
so.
of it all. He's unfollowed them on social media.
Yeah, it's no longer Facebook fish.
God, I've not heard that term in years. Um, 'Cause we're from that generation, I believe, where Facebook's not as much a thing as it used to be. Um,
Not anymore.
but so yeah, James Cook having a bit of beef with Buffalo. Terran Armstead,
Mm.
Miami Dolphins, from the Miami Dolphins, he has retired this week. There's been a couple of very interesting things come out about that retirement. Basically said that he couldn't play without pain meds. Um,
Yeah. He could barely walk afterwards, that's what he said. He
none.
could barely put any weight
That's
on
horrific.
his foot, which is insane, considering he made what, 6 Pro Bowls?
Yeah,
And so, fair play to him.
Yeah.
ridiculous. The saga, by the way, has finally ended. Aaron Rodgers has now signed with Pittsburgh, and he will be coming. That means he'll be coming over to Dublin later this year as
Mm.
well, which is
That's
nice
great.
for our Irish brethren. But
R.I.P. Mike Tomlin's winning record, right?
well, there's a lot to be said about that, and I'll throw back to that in a second because I want both of your thoughts on that particular situation. Um, and then finally, the Indianapolis Colts have formalized the transition of ownership following owner Jim Irsay's passing to Jim Irsay's daughters, which is nice to see. We have more female representatives in the boardrooms at the NFL meetings, which is really nice to see. Um, Tom,
Yes.
talk to me about this Aaron Rodgers situation. Well,
I mean, it feels like the worst kept secret of the off season that he was always at some point going to sign with the Steelers. It was just a matter of time when it was going to be. I mean, at this point in his career, he's not so much of a needle move. Like, when he went to the Jets, even then, he was older, but he was more of a needle mover at that time. And now he's not, but the Steelers need competent quarterback play, and they haven't had that a lot of the time. Obviously, Justin Fields played well in the starts that he got, and then Russell Wilson started off well, but then petered out towards the end of the year, which is basically um, what happens with the Steelers over the last decade, more or less. They peter out towards the end of the year and then get bounced in the first round of playoffs. So I wouldn't expect anything less from the Steelers this year. And they've arguably, I'd say, across all 4 teams in the division, they might have the worst roster
yeah, yeah.
of the lot.
Meg.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin obviously is known for keeping all the drama in-house. A lot of players who have, in fact, a lot of players who previously have in problems with character and things like that go to Mike Tomlin and seemingly don't have any issues.
Mm.
A lot of players seem to leave Mike Tomlin and all of a sudden create issues. People have mentioned Antonio Brown. I think that's a completely different scenario. That man had such bad CTE, it was bound to happen at any point. Can Mike Tomlin be the one to rein in just the drama that follows Aaron Rodgers, or is this has he met his match now?
I don't think there's a coach in the NFL capable of reining in Aaron Rodgers, if I'm honest. The ego is significant. I'm trying to keep this without turning it to like my personal feelings on Aaron Rodgers completely. But I make no secret of the fact that I have zero time for the man. Um, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I think that like you say, Mike Tomlin likes to keep things in house. He's quite, we'll deal with this as a team. If there's something going off, it's the team's business first and foremost. Aaron Rodgers is the type of person who will blast all over social media. He will appear on every single show that he can get on. When he when there was all the drama about coaching staff, etc., at the Jets, the first thing he did was jumped on the Pat McAfee show and caused an absolute stir about defending his name against all these haters and blah 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 blah. Mike Tomlin just ain't going to stand for that. He's just not. Like, there is going to be, those are two strong characters, two strong men who are going to, I think, end up in tears. I think there's only one way that that's going to end up, because Aaron Rodgers ain't going to take a telling from anyone. And equally, Mike Tomlin, I feel like, is going to be like, well, you're playing for my team, bud. Ain't going to wash.
I really
I would
want to.
argue because you said that there's no coach in the NFL that could handle him. I think the only coach that can handle him would be Sean McVay because they're like the same age basically,
Mm.
and there's no one inside the Rams or even outside the Rams organization that I feel like he's the only coach in the NFL that would somehow be able to especially because Aaron Rodgers will be living in California where he grew up and all that kind of
Yeah, yeah.
I
rubbish
mean,
anyway.
maybe, yeah. But even at that, I don't think it's an easy job for anyone. Then
No,
let's put it
true.
that way.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to get Ollie's thoughts on it properly on air because it's his division, and I'm sure Ollie has. I don't think there's ever been a topic on this planet that Ollie's not had some form of severe opinion on. Um, but I would love to have had Ollie's thoughts on this one. Um, I think that's kind of it for news, unless either of you have seen anything else, and if you think I've missed anything else.
I think a lot of this week's news has just been who's missing from OTAs, who's rumored not to be turning up at mandatory, who's getting fined for this and that. There's not like loads and loads of major things going on right now, is there really?
No, no.
That's because we're in the doldrums of the off season.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
Yep.
this is painful season now.
yeah.
At some point throughout June, someone's gonna get a mega contract.
Hmm.
All eyes currently on Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think is probably there's a couple of
Someone's going to get some season-ending injury in training camp or
yeah
Always.
something.
um
Unfortunately, that just happens. But we'll
Is it going to
some
be Saquon Barkley though? Because the one piece of news we haven't
oh,
covered is the Madden 26 cover and the Madden curse.
we did cover
we
that last
covered that in
week.
the last
Did
episode.
you? I missed
Yeah.
Yeah.
it. My bad. Sorry, guys.
No, no, you're good. I mean, there's been some nice little bits of news coming out about Madden and all the little gameplay features that they're adding.
Mm.
I'll be honest with you all. I'm buying one of the two games this year rather than both, and it's going to be College Football 26. So I haven't paid as much attention to Madden. Um, either of you planning on getting it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've just started playing Madden and I've decided I'm a natural talent at it because I've won my first like 10 games at it. Then I tried college football. Turns out, not the same. Not the
Yeah.
same at all. Might have thrown my controller across my cabin.
Tom?
Yeah.
I will not be buying it. No, I probably won't even be buying. Well, I'm just going to keep playing College Football 25 for now as well. While it's still on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing with my created character who is well, basically me, but in college football times as a wide receiver
And
and
who does he play for?
dominating for Michigan. Won two national championships. So yeah.
A man has created a dynasty for Michigan. Thank you, Tom. I tell you what, that makes every day when I get a little video of something that's going on Tom playing College Football 26, and it's always Michigan winning something. But no, I mean, I'm gonna get one of them, but it'll be College Football 26. Which, by the way, but no, I'll mention that on Wednesday on the College Football Pod. I'm not gonna get into College Football 26
Did
news.
you know though, Fletch? Did you know that once you've finished your career in college football 25, that you can export your
Mhm.
character to play in Madden, which is
Yeah, yeah.
that's pretty cool.
No way, that's insane.
You had that option apparently in like NCAA 14.
Oh, really?
Um, and it was one of the features that people were really like, can we please have this? And it was one of the ones that, yeah, made sure they kept it in. Um, long may that continue as well. Going into 20 Madden 26 and college football 26. But talking about being in the dregs of the off season,
Mm.
you may have seen that college football UK podcast. We're doing a little mini series at the moment, redesigning the future of college football, what college football may look like if certain people get their own way. But I thought we're missing out on this one. Heard of the line like you guys don't get to do. I always liken that this to like a look one of them enterprise days at school where you kind of get put into a group and you all get to make your own little business and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like you guys are missing out. It's a really fun project. So we've got a really cool mini series coming up in July, which more information as we kind of hash out will come available. But it's been somewhat fan suggested or fan requested as an episode, and I thought actually we can go have a ton of fun with this. Um, coming soon, but because it's the dregs of the off season, like you see, they just maybe there's a free agency signing that could happen. Maybe someone gets a blockbuster contract, and that is kind of where we're gonna focus most of our attention today. Is those NFL free agent signings, as we've seen, Jermaine Pratt is now on that list.
Hmm.
Alexander is now on that list, and I'm gonna throw out. It's up to you guys. I think I want your opinion. Do you want to go by just mention a few people by position, or do you want to just kind of throw some names out there and see where we get to at the end of the episode?
Just throw some names out, I
Probably
reckon.
just throw some names out.
We'll throw
Yeah.
some names out. Well, I'm gonna just start because I'm on this particular website, and there are quarterbacks, so I'm was it's just where I'm at. So first few names I'm gonna throw out as free agents in 2025. We've got Carson Wentz. We've got Desmond Ridder. CJ Beathard. I know he's a free agent.
Who'd have
Teddy
thought?
Bridgewater, Jeff Driscoll, Tyler Huntley, Mike White, Ben DiNucci, and Jaron Hall. Like, surely Carson Wentz is not going to spend too much time waiting around now before he finds some sort of roster spot.
Yeah, I mean, you imagine he'll be. I mean, he was back up to Mahomes last year, but you imagine he'll find a spot in the league because he's a veteran, he's got experience, he knows how to play in the league. He's played at a high level in this league,
Mm.
Hmm.
so I'm sure that there's a locker room that will use him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just Desmond Ridder's talking about retiring if there isn't a contract soon. So he was statement came out yesterday, or news came out of his kind of people yesterday saying that basically he still wasn't even decided if he was going to go into the next season or not. So word on the street.
Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater, I'm pretty much absolutely dead on certain he's going into coaching.
Mm,
I don't
yeah,
think I don't think
he's
it's going to be anything else
well because
Yeah.
he was a coach in wasn't he a high school coach
in
recently,
Florida.
right?
Won won the
Yeah,
state championship,
yeah, yeah,
then rocked up to the Lions facility and was like, "Yeah, put me up here for the playoffs. Why not?"
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly, yeah.
Then we got bounced in the first round of the playoff game we played. There's by the by, but yeah. So, but he's gone down. He's gone down to Florida. He's won a state championship. Kind of done. I mean, what's really the next step other than either going into college and being a coach there, or getting a position coach in the NFL job down, which I'd like to see him at the Lions potentially. He because he knows the roster, he knows the squad.
Every
Potentially going as a quarterback assistant, he knows Goff, he knows Hendon Hooker, he knows all the staff. That'd be really nice, but I don't see him coming back and even getting third, fourth spot on a roster or even practice squad.
Mhm.
No, I don't think he's at that point in his career anyway. It seems like the logical thing for him to do is to move into coaching because he's already proven that he can do it at the high school level. Why not try and dip your feet in at the NFL level, as you say, as a
Yeah,
positional coach or even as an assistant, two-way positional coach, something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think
exactly.
for him coaching's a good plan for sure.
Yeah. Do any other of those names stand? I mean, Jeff Driscoll. That's my
Mm.
boy.
Just
But yeah, no, no one, not even CJ Beathard, not even CJ
no,
Beathard, not taking your fancy.
definitely not CJ Beathard.
Uh,
Um,
R.I.P.
Fair enough. I'll ask you. I tell you what. We'll go with today's news in Jer Alexander, which you and I, Tom, had a little bit of a thingy on Instagram before. I went to go and send Tom the news. Opened up a DM off Tom to find out he just sent me the news,
I
and that's just how it works. Tom's basically my personal Ian Rappaport,
love that.
always there before me.
Love that. I have like people like that who send me stuff, Fletch. Plus others that'll just be like, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this?
Don't
Um,
don't pretend it's anything important. Anything I send at any time is a meme.
Literally a meme or a ridiculous video of like some random nonsense. Um, but always brightens my day up. So hey, we're good. Um,
Always at 3 in the morning as well.
always at 3 in the morning. Always. It's
That
like
they're
my
the
wake
best for
up call.
they're the Instagram real rabbit holes when you're really going down them. Anyway, that's totally not what we're here to talk
No,
about. But Jer Alexander, um, Tom, I do want to throw this to you first. We
Yeah.
spoke quite a bit about Jer Alexander last year. You and I both said it's a bit daft to actually just say talent is undeniable. He's one of the
Mm.
best corners in the league on his day.
Yeah.
Attitude, health wise, not have not matched what that talent and not brought best to kind of split ways, I think.
Mm.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it was time, he hasn't really been very available for the Packers recently. I think he played 7 games last year, or it might have been the most games he's played in a while last year. The season before, I think he played four or something like that. So he's had niggling knee injuries for a while, and it just seemed like the right thing to do, really, to let him go. And especially, I don't know what his cap hit was this year. Was it like 15 mil, something like that, maybe?
Don't know on the cap hit, but what I do have is 2024, 7 games played, 7 games started.
7 games, yeah.
2023, 7 games played, 7 games started.
Mm.
2022 was 16 and 16.
And that
2021
was
was
his
4.
last, yeah, almost full season. Yeah, exactly. So he's the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been able to provide that for the Packers. So it seems like the logical thing to do moving forward, and for him as well to join a team and be able to make an impact.
mm. There's quite a few teams that are rumored to be interested though, or that he could end up at though. There's a list of about 7 or 8 teams that I've seen that's kind of been bandied about. Obviously, Falcons are on there, Eagles are on there, Dolphins are on there, Niners, Vikings I think are on there, and Ravens. I want to say,
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is that before he got released, there was conversations between, funny enough, the Bills and the Packers about him potentially going to Buffalo. But then those conversations ended up falling through, and then they picked Maxwell Hairston in the first round. Uh,
yeah,
so that kind of ended any
yeah,
notion that he was going there. I mean, any sort of zone scheme, that's where he matches up best. So, with the Rams potentially,
yeah. I've seen that one.
the Dolphins is definitely a good shout with, Jalen Ramsey. It looks like he wants to be with another team anyway.
Yeah,
He may force his way back to the Rams, who knows? Um, but yeah, Miami could do with one as well. But just people with kind of the cap space and ability to be able to take him on, because he's still, as Fletch said, he's still a quality player in this league. Can still be one of the best corners in the league on his day. It's just he's had those injury worries and had some
mm,
of those maturity issues as well. I mean, Fletch, he could probably speak more on this, but how was he was a defensive captain, but then he got stood down on the day of the game. That was a bit of a weird situation, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit. Um, I'm trying to get some of his stats up, and then PFF just being weird. Um, Apologies. I was listening. I can't remember what exactly went down, but I do. It was weird.
It
Something
was
really
because it
odd
was
went
like on
down.
the day of the game that like he then didn't suit up or something, right? Wasn't it? It was all a bit
Oh, let me get it.
strange. Like his character was brought into question basically in terms of leadership,
Um,
quitting on his team, not quitting on his team, but
20. It was 2023.
yeah,
It was 2023. I think I'm pretty. It might have been around the Lions game.
that's
Uh,
why I thought it
it
was the Lions game.
it might have been the Lions game, or it might have been another divisional game, but I do remember it being somewhat significant in the division because, um, yeah, it was, and he got suspended
Yeah, yeah, he did
out
as
of
a
it.
result.
But by position, wait, I'm gonna let me get the positions up.
He also
Because
has one of the better interviews it, post post game when the Packers played the Dolphins and he picked off the ball and he was describing how Tua like he didn't know Tua was like Tua threw it deep basically and he was like, oh, he's gonna throw it to me. Oh, just did I pick the ball off? Like ran to the end zone and gave the ball to, a guy in the crowd wearing number 23. Like, but the
yeah,
way he broke it down was just hilarious, to be honest. Like, he's a character, that's for sure.
he is, and
Just speaking of characters, I don't know if obviously Fletch, you're a resident Lions fan, but have you seen the news about what Dan Campbell has come out with today? It's literally just been sent to me, and I figured that it's actually one that we probably want to mention. That he's
no,
decided he wants a pet lion, a live pet lion, on the
well,
sidelines at the
this
Lions
was
game.
years ago.
Apparently, it's updated today that he has also got in touch with a lion owner who is well up for it, but the league has said no.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
The league office says Campbell says that the Lions owner Sheila Fordhamp is on board with his idea for a live lion, but the league office is not. Quote, Sheila, she had no problem with it, but the league apparently frowns on those types of things. And this is why we love Dan Campbell.
Um, I mean, I remember this being ML football. Is it from ML football?
It is from Pardon My Take.
Okay, so
Really?
I can't even
Wow,
take up
that's
practice
mad.
five. I remember this. I remember this being a thing years ago. Like
Yeah.
when he did the initial press conference and he was like,
Mm,
maybe we could get a lion in here. You look at college football, by the way, like Texas have an actual Longhorn on the side. Georgia have an actual bulldog on the side. Okay, slightly different.
Right,
I was a
okay.
yeah, I mean,
bulldog.
that's a.
Can we just a bulldog and a
Um,
lion? Don't come for
well,
my bulldogs.
Well, could you imagine at the Bills' new stadium if there's let a buffalo out on the field? Like, they're not going to do that. Like,
Just
that is not.
lining up round the sidelines.
unless it's something that's again, we're getting into silly season. People are bringing up random things. I can't see, and again, I've seen nothing to. I've been throughout Lions Twitter today. I've seen
Yeah,
nothing about this as like an actual thing that's just happened. So maybe it's just resurfacing. But
it could be resurfacing. Someone's just
Mm.
sent me it and it was
because
35 minutes ago, apparently.
well, it looks like ML Football shared it in the last hour.
Could
And
be that.
but it with a reminder, Dan Campbell wanted this.
Yeah, yeah.
Who knows?
So it was somewhat just doing the rounds again.
Probably.
Another interesting one, actually,
Mm.
in terms of names that are available, is my arch nemesis, my fantasy football arch nemesis, Amari Cooper.
Mm.
Mm.
Meg, where would someone like is there anywhere you see Amari Cooper slotting in?
I mean, there are so many teams that are actually just like desperately bad that could take him. Realistically, I'm thinking like looking at New York, either direction, like either team, New York side. Um, Titans, another one could be a good fit. Could be an
Our
interesting
receivers
fit.
go to die.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Maybe not
31 now.
anymore.
31 years old. In football terms, you ain't getting any younger, which makes me feel like a grandma. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think there is obviously he's probably not going to go for back for the Browns, but yeah, trying to think.
Reunion with the star on his helmet, maybe?
Maybe,
Uh,
maybe. I can't see it. I don't think they would take him.
Who
I
knows?
mean, they need a bit of depth at receiver,
They
and
Mm,
do.
Amari Cooper would be decent depth. Well,
Yeah.
obviously you're not taking him in to go as wide receiver one or even wide receiver two in Dallas right now, but
Yeah, but Jonathan Mingo's been pretty disappointing
yeah,
for what they picked him up for. And obviously CeeDee Lamb's the number one guy, but good to have some depth there, I guess,
oh
potentially.
yeah,
yeah,
And he
and
knows knows the team, all that sort of stuff.
yeah, and he's my fantasy football arch nemesis, but I like Amari Cooper. I
yeah,
do like him, and there's always a big play in him. There's always something that, as long as you've got Amari Cooper on there, there's something.
yeah,
Um, Obviously last season just wasn't it for him. It's but
Just
then
didn't work out.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
He had that one great touchdown catch, and
yeah,
that was basically it.
but then Khalil Shakir took off
Yes.
mm,
and just became Josh Allen's target, and then.
Mm,
So I think you're someone like Amari Cooper, you're going, well, I'm going to go to Buffalo. Kind of the only decent wide receiver they've got. No disrespect to Keon Coleman, he's a rookie. Still, my favourite part of last season was, oh shit, which way round was it? I know what Keon Coleman was telling Amari Cooper. No, that's your route. You want to stand there.
mm.
Just before the play got called, and Keon Coleman's telling him like, "There's no, this is what we're doing." Because oh yeah, it was because Amari Cooper had just arrived. It was his first game for the Bills. But that was no one's I think saw like I say no one really saw Khalil Shakir second half of the season just being Josh Allen's primary target, and then obviously it puts Amari Cooper a bit further down on the pecking order. He's probably gone for it. They got Keon Coleman, they got Khalil Shakir, they got a couple other pieces, but I'm the guy.
Mm.
yeah,
And then he just wasn't the guy.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, if that's the case and he does go to Dallas, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a fantasy league that I'm in. I'm gonna draft him and I'm going to start him every week. And I can promise everyone in Dallas he won't do nothing for you.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's exactly what happened.
The other one that I think is quite an interesting one at the minute is J.K. Dobbins
Mm.
because he's quite young, isn't he? He's like what, 26, 27?
Yeah, he's 26.
Yeah,
Coming off obviously he had a really good year last year, but then before that and before the injury with the Ravens, the guy was a beast.
yeah,
But then, the Ravens have always had, absolute horror luck when it comes to like training camp injuries with
Yeah,
running
yeah.
backs. And they
mm,
had that one where, didn't they, Fletch, where it was like all three of their starting running backs tore their ACLs like in training camp, which was insane.
that is insane. That is insane.
Um, yeah,
Matthew
Jake.
Judon can do one, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, fair,
Waste of money.
fair. Um, Totally understandable. One that gets another one though coming out of Atlanta. Where's that little man gone? Justin Simmons.
Mm,
He's been rumoured at a few places, hasn't he? He's been in talks with different places. Don't ask me to name them because I can't remember who it was that I saw that he was speaking to. Um, I think, well, Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon joined us at exactly the same time. And, there was all this hope that suddenly Atlanta would have, decent defense.
that was short-lived.
It was very short lived. It was about 5 minutes into their first game. Um, you
Mm,
know, but I don't know. Part of me thinks maybe because what I mean, Justin Simmons is still only 31, I guess, but I don't know. I really don't. I think that to an extent, in some positions, I feel like we're a little bit oversaturated with the quality of rookies that have come out defensively.
I think. So I will say as well, you is a safety.
Mm.
Mm,
Him and Julian Blackman's on is also a free agent, and you're talking about arguably. Now I'm more than happy if either of you want to come out and argue me on this one. I'm not particularly like set in stone on this opinion, but safety being one of the most throwaway positions that you can get, no one particularly, unless you've got an elite safety,
Yeah.
yeah.
which obviously Kirby Joseph. But unless you've got an elite side, it's you just kind of end up in a carousel, and
Xavier McKinney is a
yeah,
elite
you
Did somebody say that Cooper DeJean's going to play safety next season?
Yeah, yeah. What's his name?
But no, 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 no. We can't have that. We can't have that. We can't. I'm not allowing it. I'm going to sign a petition. Cooper DeJean is not a safety. He's just a corner who will lock down your number one.
I know,
It
I know,
kills
but
us
Vic
on.
Fangio was saying that they might try and like not like for safety the whole time, but
Yeah.
certain packages play him at safety, which would be interesting. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean Simmons, obviously I got a lot of experiences seeing him in the division, for the Broncos. Very smart player, very instinctive,
Yeah.
knows the defense, great communicator. So, any sort of team that needs that veteran presence in the back end, picking him up, even if the production isn't what it quite used to be, just having that veteran leadership would be massive. I mean, he's the player that's picked off Patrick Mahomes the most
Mm.
in his career. So I've watched the guy pick him off, and he can still play. He just needs to be in the right situation.
Yeah. So just all that's going through my head is Cooper DeJean is sometimes a safety, mostly a corner who will lock down. He just doesn't feel the same.
Mm,
So screw you, Vic Fangio. Um, Keenan Allen
mm,
is an
Yeah.
interesting one. And similar to Amari Cooper, but I know Keenan Allen is a little bit older than Amari Cooper. But I mean, he still has a bit of dog in him. Saw it last year with the Bears. Obviously, maybe handicapped a little bit by um, being a Chicago Bear. Um,
mm,
I read ESPN here have got him ranked. It basically just said is a chain moving number three,
mm,
which okay, but I also you're not going to necessarily get that production out of him. I don't see anyone truly getting that production out of him. I think he goes out and maybe takes on a slightly reduced Tim Patrick sort of role where,
mm.
or like a Khalif Raymond kind of deal, but maybe not being a gunner um on punts. Just
Yeah. See, I hear what you're saying with that, but then also, the guy is still an elite route runner. Like he might
yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah,
might not have the juice and he was never like the fastest guy either. Like I watched him torch the Chiefs on many occasions, and just play, elite, especially, with his precise route running. So he never relied too much on
yeah,
speed to get open. It's more of, his precise route running, being able to beat, defensive backs and what have you. And he's still got like some of that juice. Yeah, I could see him as a wide receiver three somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that would be. Like maybe like with the I was going to say the Panthers, but they got Adam Thielen, so he's kind of their
yeah.
like wide receiver.
Mm.
You throw
But
somewhere like
Speaking of,
Seahawks.
yeah, 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 maybe, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, and that would be a good piece to add because you got obviously JSN, who's like the up and coming ascending, definitely the wide receiver one there, especially with the trade with DK Metcalf going to the Steelers. So getting a veteran
Cooper
wide
Cup in
receiver
there as
there
well.
who's done some great things in this league.
Well, got Cooper
Um,
Cup in there as well.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So that would be a good, three-pronged
Yeah.
attack. Even if his target volume's definitely going to go down. He might get three targets a game, maybe if that.
Yeah.
But he could still be somewhat productive somewhere.
Yeah. And you think with somewhere like the Seahawks, that defense is obviously going to get him to a point where they're in most games.
Yeah.
And they've got Sam Darnold, who showed he can still perform to a level. Um, as we said last week, look, I could play quarterback with Justin Jefferson as my wide receiver and win a Super Bowl. Like, you just launch it to Justin Jefferson and say, yeah, yeah, good luck, defenders. But you've got Sam Darnold in there. Giving him some trustworthy bodies wouldn't actually be. Again, it's not the worst idea to give someone like Sam
Yeah.
Darnold a couple of trustworthy bodies. And if he can still take a hit in some of those contested catches and he's still got the hands,
Mm,
then. And like I say, last year, like I say, he put decent numbers, was some good production. Someone that Caleb Williams went to and trusted alongside Cole Kmet at times.
the only
Got
problem with the
You've got the hands.
Seahawks fit would be that he's a slot receiver, right? And
Mm.
then you got Cooper Cup, who also is a slot receiver. So it's like they'd have to. Obviously, Cooper Cup's going to be the higher option, but still, you just got two
Mm.
players of a similar mold. Obviously, Cooper Cup's better, but
Well, yeah, but maybe you just bring him in. I guess it's a depth piece.
mm,
Maybe he's actually coming in as a wide receiver for. He's coming in on certain packages that, and maybe you just want to kind of go somewhere and play your part. And maybe
Yeah.
yeah,
he's played for the Bears, so that man is desperate for some sort of actual winning.
Yeah.
Um,
Some sort of actual decent gameplay.
yeah.
Nick Chubb has just passed his physical and has signed a 1 year deal at the Texans as we've been recording.
Right, okay, because that was the next number name I was going to bring up.
yeah.
I've just seen it come through from Diana Rossini
So
right now,
we're gonna we're
25
gonna
minutes ago.
we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. So Nick Chubb, right? I can see him going to the Texans. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
see that as a good fit.
1 year deal, I reckon.
But how much a year are you going to give him?
Oh, there's the answer. There's a question, isn't it? There's the question. I'm definitely not looking at Diana Rossini's Twitter right now. I don't know if that's
No.
been released yet. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure if they have come out and said exactly what's going on there. Um, not
Um, no worries. Well, I mean, Diana Rossini, she's pretty trustworthy.
Yeah,
I'll just,
definitely. Yeah.
um,
That'd be an interesting backfield though. Him and Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, yeah,
Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce whenever he gets on the field.
it's going to be interesting.
um. Well, I'll throw a couple more names out there because I'm wary of we've been going for about 45 minutes now, so I'm wary of get through a couple more names and then we can start wrapping up. Russell Douglas,
Mm,
young.
Mm.
Well, I say young even. He's 30.
Young, thank you.
Old,
Rude.
really old. Um, some of me and Tom are still in our 20s here, so you can
hmm
one of us only for like 3 more weeks, but still in our 20s here, and I'm
hmm
so riding that train for the next 3 weeks. You've got a couple more. Actually, I'll
mm,
just write a couple corners in general because I've heard that when sometimes it's just the market itself is interesting, and when you see obviously in the draft as well, dominoes start to fall. You've got Russell Douglas, you've got Asante Samuel Jones Jr.,
mm,
Mike Hilton.
yeah.
Um, where's he gone? Where's that little? Um, no, that's it. Hey, are there any? How many teams right now are really in the room looking for a high level corner? I think the Lions could and I wouldn't even say the Lions could really do with one because if you expect someone like Terry and Arnold to make a huge jump from a first round pick, and then you've got Ennis Rakestraw coming in, and then you've got a couple of other pieces that are returning, maybe not, but
I mean, I often say the Falcons need everything, to be honest. That's where I'm at with that one. Wouldn't do us any harm taking a decent corner to come in, but
I mean Asante Samuel Jr. is only 25.
yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
It's just the injury history with him. That's the problem.
Mm.
And he only played, I think, 6 games last year with a shoulder injury. Um,
Yeah, but I need to say it depends on how good's your medical team because the shoulder injury, depending on what kind of shoulder injury, that could be a nice easy one off.
mm,
Are you willing to take that chance, or but you've got to be careful with it because if it isn't just one of them little one offs and you're not careful with it, that man's career's over
Yeah.
in 2 more years and he's back in college football coaching.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if like a guy like yeah, like a Asante Samuel, or yeah, actually probably more Rasul Douglas, but the Niners seem to need like help at corner, especially with what's his name, with Travis Ward leaving, right? He's
Yeah,
Yeah.
gone. So getting some depth there is one team as well. The Rams as well, they struggled in their secondary. Obviously, as we said before, um, Jalen Ramsey could potentially be going back there, but then he's quite a bit older anyway. So a guy like Asante Samuel could be an interesting guy for that as well.
yeah. Um, there's one more name I want to mention, and I don't care what anyone else has to say on it. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This is pure. This is all me. Um, and it's not really a mentioning of a position or a player to kind of really talk about. It's a personal message I'm sending out there. So Darius Smith, come home. We miss you. We love you. Please come home. Brad Holmes, like make the phone call. So Darius Smith, please come home.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Sorry. No, but seriously, I desperately want that man back. I want that man back in Detroit, and I want that man back in Detroit 6 months or 4 months ago when they decided to cut him. In my opinion, it makes perfect sense. He slotted right into Detroit last year, and you're not even just talking about the roster. You saw that the game after we signed him was the game against the Texans on the road where Goff threw 5 interceptions, and we still won the game because that's what the Lions do. Apart from in obviously divisional round games. But how he stood there coaching the rest of the D line and he stood there working with them on plays and giving them tips and pointers and how he so quickly ingratiated himself to the locker room. But actually you even watch how much I loved him on the pod from back end of last season.
Yeah.
Look at what Detroit Lions fans were saying about him within days of him arriving. He just we fell in. It was a very, very quick marriage of we love you, you love us, and this is a thing that's happening, and most of us were devastated. Again, end of last season, I didn't even think it was a chance that he was getting cut. I'm talking about, well, next year we're fine because we've got Zadarius Smith and we've got Aiden Hutchinson coming back. It just didn't make any sense to cut him. So, yeah. But then you've got Matthew Judon who's also available, and Will, I mean, Von Miller.
Hmm.
Will just retire, pal. Just retire.
Just at this point, it's the corpse of Von Miller. So just retire or just go back and yeah, just sign a 1 day contract with the Broncos and retire with the Broncos. Like that. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just go and do that because I mean that deal that the Bills gave him. I mean, I always knew it was going to be bad anyway, because he had that one good season with the Rams. After obviously he was a perennial. He was one of the
Yeah.
best players of of the 2010s. Like
Oh, absolutely.
he absolutely dominated. But then in the last stages of his career, going to the Rams, winning a Super Bowl there. After that, just getting a big payday. Fair play to him, but his play did not live up to the billing. No pun intended. So yeah,
I mean, he was in the NFL 2010s All Decades team.
yeah. I mean,
The
he was an
Rookie of the
absolute dominant
Year,
force. Yeah.
8 Pro Bowls. The guy's was an absolute
Super Bowl MVP as well. Like, I
monster.
mean, yeah, this guy's got an incredible resume. He's going to Canton,
Oh yeah,
um, but just retire at this point, Von.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 Super Bowls. Um, a Super Bowl a defensive player winning Super Bowl MVP. I mean, it's yeah, Canton is not a question. Um, maybe you have a career like that though, when you just don't know when to say it's
Mm,
Enough.
over. But like at the same time, you've won two Super Bowls. What's the left for you to do? Like, what have you got to prove? Who have you got to prove?
yeah,
What
Yeah,
literally.
do you want to go? Is it a case of going for three? Is it a case of just like, no, I still feel like I've got something in my body to give? I don't know, but yeah, you kind of gotta just say Von,
enough's enough.
enough's enough. Um, right. So as you are all aware, at the end of every episode, we ask our wonderful, wonderful co-hosts a question. Now, I forgot to put it in the Discord this week because it's been a hectic weekend. I've had barely any time to breathe because we've been working on the brand new website. We've been working on a load of really cool things behind the scenes on the AAW network. But um, I do have a question now. Yesterday, the day recording, it was National Best Friend Day or International Best Friends Day, even. So this question's going to come in two parts to both of you. First part, we'll start with. Who are some of the best partnerships, the best friendships, the best connections that we've seen in the NFL, and which ones are your favourites? Um, Tom, I know you had an answer lined up almost instantly when I reminded you of the question before the episode, so I'll let you run off it.
You know, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. That's the first one that popped to mind, obviously. So I can't help but think of them. But if not them, Gronk and
Gronk and Brady.
TB12
Yeah,
is obviously a great one. Um, trying to think of some good ones. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers when they were in Green Bay. That was a good one. Um, Jerry
One that
Rice.
turned one that turned sour last season. Young Wei Koo and Raheem Morris. Been out there. At the start of the season, best buds, secret handshake, the lot. End of the season, get off the field. No.
Love that. Yeah, that does.
shout out to Dan Campbell and Biting Kneecaps, by the way, elite
Yes.
partnership.
Nice.
I'm on St. Brown and end zones, those kind of things. Trying to think. Um, I like the Gronk Edelman. I know it's kind of
Mm,
really flourished in retirement, but the Gronk and
yeah.
Julian Edelman,
Yeah.
the podcast, the the Zoolander meme throwback things that they've done together, which I never thought you'd see two disciples of Bill Belichick doing. Maybe Gronk, but yeah, that's a lovely little thing that I kind of really seen more of the last few years.
Definitely.
Um,
Darnell Mooney with MP9. Just saying. Tom and I went for exactly the same strategy there. We both went for our team. We're like, all right.
I mean, okay, if you want to do that, then I'm going to throw back to like the 2012, 2013 Matt Stafford, Calvin
That's exactly
Johnson.
what I was about to. Yeah, I knew you were about to say that one. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Megatron and just like the best partnership though is Megatron and just simply being elite. Um,
I mean, Megatron versus three or more defenders
oh,
is what.
at the line, all of them trying to bully him at the line, and he still touched. I just don't get me started.
What about Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase versus corners as well? Especially, Jamar Chase versus any Ravens defender who absolutely blitzes every single time. So
uh, yeah. Um, there are some more that I'm thinking of. I can't come up with them off the top of my head. Um,
You
so
should put it out on
oh,
socials and let
what
people
about
fill
what
in.
yeah,
about Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp as well?
Matt Stafford Cooper Cup. Yep, that was a good
A good
one.
one.
I feel like because it was a National Best Friends Day question, I feel like I've kind of missed our happy National Best Friends Day. Who are the best friends today? What I will do though is we'll do part two. I'm just going straight part two of this question. Who's an NFL player, past, present? or just someone involved with the NFL that you would most like to, don't know, go for a beer with. Typical British thing to do with a mate, go for a beer with.
Easy.
Go on.
Jason Kelsey.
Mm, that's a good
Hands
one.
down. No question. Like, there is not even a close competition for me. I would 100% pick Jason Kelsey as my drinking buddy. And having heard some like personal stories this week from someone that I've connected with, uh, he is the life and soul of the bar. He is like there buying everybody shots. He is drunk 90% of the time that he's out, like just having the best time. I'm here for it. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely. Can you imagine the carnage? I mean, Tom, you've not experienced the carnage of me, but when like imagine me and Jason Kelsey on a night out with tequila because his shot of choice is tequila. I am just saying.
Moving on. Moving swiftly on. Tom.
I think I would say George Kittle, just because he is
Yeah, yeah.
just an absolute, machine. He just seems like a great guy as well. As you said, I'm not gonna use the cop out answer and say Travis Kelce. So George Kittle, just absolute beast, and you could tell that he just brings life to everything. So I feel like if we went out on a night out, it would be one to remember, 100%.
Oh. Do you know what? I didn't think George Kittle, but now I kind of wish I'd said George Kittle because if you watch the
Yeah,
receiver documentary and just
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I've
Yeah.
just rewatched it as well.
uh, um, mine's a retired one. I don't think we'd be drinking beer. I think he'd bring some really weird stuff. Marshawn Lynch,
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
and I think he'd be
You wouldn't
sitting
be
there.
drinking beer, but
No,
you'd
you would not. I
definitely
say
be
you would not.
drinking Henny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's just sitting there going, "We're gonna drink over and over and over and over and over." But he'd just be a laugh
Yeah,
all day. Oh,
100%.
like he'd just be brilliant. I think you'd have the wildest and probably funniest night of your entire life. And
yep,
he seems like he'd be like, oh look, I just want to listen. I'm just gonna go grab a bit of food, and he's like, I got you covered. I got you. You with me? Got you covered. He seems like one of those kind of guys as well who just he'll look after whoever's with him.
yeah,
Uh, that'd kind of be my retired one. As far as someone goes in the NFL, I want to go with Mike McDaniel's because
yes,
he's weird. And I feel
yeah,
like I just want to see him having after a couple of beers and see how the weirdness
Oh, he's sober
changes.
though.
I know, but it make it funnier to go for a beer with him because
would it? Would it, Fletch?
I think it really, really would. Imagine that how
I'm
that
not
beer's
too
gonna
sure
hit you.
about that.
Is he sober because of like reasons, or is it just
Yeah,
choice?
yeah,
And
yeah. He was like an alcoholic.
Yeah,
right, so
yeah.
maybe
It's
Well,
part of
I'm
the
not.
reason he got fired by the
Yeah, yeah. I remember the interview we did
was
because
it
it
the
was
Falcons at the time?
was it not the 49ers?
Was it the 49ers?
Or Commanders?
Oh,
One of the it was the
yeah,
Commanders.
it might have been. No, I think it might have been the 49ers. So I'm pretty sure that
Weren't he on he was on the staff with what's his face from the Packers at the moment?
yeah, yeah, with Matt LaFleur.
Not the floor, that's the one.
Yeah, and I think Carl Shanahan had like fired him, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and then
Um,
that was like the low point that he went through, but now,
yeah,
yeah, now he's
he was
sober and
yeah.
everything. So,
No, it was while he was in Washington
it was while he's in
because
Washington.
it was like 2011, 2012, wasn't it, or
Yeah, it was when they
2013?
had that ridiculous, like they had Sean McVay, they
Yeah.
had Matt LaFleur, they had, they literally had all of them, like Shanahan. That
Uh,
was a crazy,
it
that
was
was,
there
that
where
was a crazy
Daniel
one.
worked alongside three other future head coaches, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Matt LaFleur.
That's insane.
yeah,
Now, obviously, I completely forgot about that, so I feel like it is really insensitive for me to have said Mike McDaniel, by the way. So, maybe not. We'll go for a
go for
nice
a coffee.
latte. We'll go for a
Yeah,
nice latte. And I still think I want to spend an hour with him. I think he'd just be
I'm
he's
surprised you
weird.
don't want to like smash, cans with Dan Campbell.
It'd be too intense for me. I don't think. I could go. I think Dan Campbell on a quiet beer. Like you
Mm,
go to a little dive bar or whatever.
yeah.
Have a couple of bottles of Budweiser or whatever.
Mm,
It'd be cool. But I reckon if Dan Campbell gets going and whatnot, I'd be just I can't. No,
yeah,
thank you.
no, I hear that. I mean, I'd love to go for like this isn't like drinks, but I go for a cheeseburger with Andy Reid. That
Yeah,
would be wonderful
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
it's either again Travis Kelce. You get Travis Kelce drinking, I'd be like, nah, I can't.
Oh yeah, 100%. But
There'd
you
be a
know,
point
that's
where
the
you
cop
gotta
out
go.
answer. So I was like, I can't be giving the Travis Kelce.
Yeah, but also I do feel like
Especially
after
because Meg gave Jason Kelce, and that's obviously a great one.
yeah.
So
Um, but I do think like after a little bit of time, you'd have to be kind of going. Listen, I want to go home now. I want to go to bed. And Travis Kelce's going, nah, man, we'd die with the more shots.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think so. I think Travis Kelce would be like, he'd get to a certain point and he'd be like, yeah, it's home time. I don't think I think Jason's the wild one.
oh no, if you know anything about their college days, Travis is the wild one.
Jason on multiple occasions had to go into
Had
head
to look
coaches and
up,
just be
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
yeah, to be
please,
fair, I've
please,
seen
just give
that.
him another chance.
I have seen
Um,
that. I don't know, he just seems more mellow now. I feel like it's like role reversal as they've got older.
no, let's say it
If
for
you've
what it
seen
is.
any
It's
of the
Taylor
Chiefs
Swift effect.
parade, you wouldn't think that.
Let was it, but just let's say it for what it is. It's the Taylor Swift effect. He's in a committed relationship now,
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
maybe he's settling down a bit. But as Tom said, no, I saw him last year at the prick. No, um, I mean, I think that's about it really in terms of today's episode, which leads me to only thank Ballers Meg and Tom Craft for joining us this week. Next week we'll be back again. We'll see. No, not we'll see. We will be back again
It's
next
like,
week. Um, and yeah, again, links in the bio, links in the description for all the important links. Go follow Tom, go follow Meg, go follow myself, go follow the AEW network, go follow Hurdle the Line, go join our Discord, and then we'll see you next week. Hurdle that free agent or hurdle that friend.
Oh.
ah.